Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. Let's just jump right in, because we are tackling something pretty fundamental today. Have you ever wondered why some people just seem to effortlessly glide forward in life, while others, well, they get stuck in the exact same patterns, year after year? It's kind of like a giant puzzle, right? Well, today, we're going to unpack the invisible rules that literally govern our success and our failure.
So I've got to ask you, are you obeying the invisible laws of success? Because here's the absolute truth derived from our source material today: success isn't random. There's no secret lottery. And on the flip side, failure isn't just a streak of bad luck. Both of these outcomes actually follow a very specific set of 12 invisible laws. And here's the kicker. The reality you really need to grasp right now. You already are obeying them. Right this second. You are following every single one of them, whether you realize it or not. These aren't just, cute life tips or opinions. They are laws. Break them, and you absolutely pay the price in your daily life. But learn them, really understand how they operate, everything changes. It's literally the ultimate cheat code. Okay, let's dive into this. We've grouped these 12 rapid-fire laws into a few buckets for today's agenda. First, identity and internal beliefs. Second, action, effort, and intent. Third, letting go to grow. Fourth, your environment and standards. And finally, taking control of the laws.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Identity and Internal Beliefs. Really, this is all about the stories we tell ourselves.
So the law of identity states something absolutely crucial. You will never outperform the story you tell yourself about who you are. This is profound, honestly. If you silently view yourself as someone who is, say, just bad with money, your reality is going to bend over backward to ensure that struggle continues. Your income, your relationships, your body, they all literally bend to match your self-image.
This dynamic brilliantly illustrates what we call the law of silent repetition. You see, a life doesn't change because of one dramatic, Hollywood-style decision. No, it works like this. The thought you repeat most becomes your core belief. Then, that belief dictates your daily behavior. And eventually, that behavior, it just becomes your life. It's crazy to think about, but a single, silent, repeated thought cascades into your entire existence.
Now, let's just pause for a second. Information isn't transformation. What a mic drop quote, right? This brings us to the law of delayed identity. You don't actually change just because you sit down and learn something new. Actually, scratch that. It's more like you only change when you actively stop identifying with something old. You could read 100 books, but until you drop that old story you've been repeating, you are going to stay exactly the same.
Moving right along to Section 2, Action, Effort, and Intent. Let's talk about the friction of taking action.
Okay, we all know this one, the law of diminishing intent. Motivation is not some unlimited, permanent resource. It's got a half-life, and it decays by the hour. We've all had that brilliant million-dollar idea at midnight, right? Well, at hour 1, your motivation peaks. By hour 12, the idea is already decaying. And by hour 24, you are highly unlikely to ever do anything about it. The longer you wait to act on an idea, the less likely you ever will.
Think about the huge contrast between chasing versus receiving. This is the law of reversed effort. Think about things like approval, sleep, or confidence. The harder you chase them, the more you toss and turn at night trying to force yourself to sleep, the faster they run away from you. The things you want most in these categories, they only arrive when you stop suffocating them.
Which leads us directly into the law of inverted fear. We almost always view fear as this massive barrier, right? Like a giant wall telling us to turn around. But this law forces us to see fear as a highly strategic tool. The thing you are most afraid to do is almost always the exact thing you most need to do to break through to the next level of your life. Fear isn't a stop sign, it's a compass. Just let that cement in your mind for a second. It points us exactly where we need to go. If you're feeling terrified about a new venture or maybe a tough conversation you've been putting off, well, that fear is pointing true north.
All right, on to Section 3, letting go to grow. Let's talk about what you need to release. We absolutely have to talk about the crucial law of the vacuum. You simply cannot receive what you want until you release what you're currently clinging to. I mean, full hands can't grab new things. If you're holding on to old resentments or outdated versions of yourself, you literally have no capacity to grasp the new things coming your way. You either let go or you stay stuck. It's that simple. Now, the law of the hidden payoff requires you to really interrogate yourself. Listen, every single bad habit you keep is secretly giving you something in return. Procrastination? It's secretly giving you comfort. Doom scrolling gives you a cozy distraction from reality. Complaining? That just gives you cheap sympathy. Until you can look in the mirror and name exactly what you are gaining from your worst habits, you are never going to quit them.
And if you ignore that hidden payoff, well, you run straight into the law of energetic debt. Every lie you tell yourself borrows energy from your future. Being inauthentic is a highly expensive way to live. And trust me, the bill always comes due. This law demands absolute, brutal honesty with ourselves about our habits and our real motives.
Let's transition into Section 4, your environment and standards. These are the invisible forces all around you. So there is a massive, fundamental difference between what you want and what you tolerate. This is known as the law of mirrored reality. The world, your career, your relationships, it doesn't respond to what you want. No way. It responds purely to what you tolerate. If you tolerate poor treatment, you are going to get it. Your standards, quite literally, are your destiny.
And speaking of standards, we absolutely have to recognize the law of emotional gravity. You are constantly pulled toward the emotional state of the 5 closest people in your life. It's a literal gravitational pull. If you choose your inner circle wrong, absolutely no amount of personal willpower is going to save you from being dragged down to their level.
Okay, bringing it all home with Section 5, taking control of the laws. This is all about direction and destiny.
Here we are at the final law, the law of unconscious obedience. As we said earlier, you are already following all 12 of these laws every single day. I know we just threw a ton of information at you, and you probably won't remember all 12 perfectly right this second, but don't even worry about it. Your subconscious has already absorbed them. They're operating in the background of your life right now as we speak.
Which leaves us with this incredibly provocative question to wrap up our explainer today. Since you are undeniably following these invisible laws, are you following them toward what you want, or are you following them away from it? The choice to take active, conscious control of these rules is entirely yours. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Now go out there and make these laws work for you.